Thank you everyone for being here. So we're very excited that we're all connected today to discuss the mistX roadmap. As discussed in the previous community call, we want to open more than what we used to before, and especially in exchanging ideas. And I can say that we did send a link to gather your feedbacks and ideas, and I can say that I was very pleased with all the response that we've had. We've had really a lot of people responding with very interesting ideas. Some of them that we had already on the roadmap, some of them that were a bit more creative, some of them that we didn't think about. So the idea of this call today is that we review all of this together. As I've mentioned before, there's a fine line, and this is not always easy, right? To find between sharing a roadmap with publicly with the community and sharing too much information, which could eventually give an advantage to our competitors. So we're gonna open today quite a lot, I would say, maybe too much, to be honest. I'm being very honest here. This is the first time we do it, so we're trying to be smart, but we may make mistakes. Might not be the perfect way of doing this exercise. This is really something that we're learning also while we're trying to do this. But the end goal is that really you feel more included, that you believe that you have an impact on this project, because this is true, this is a reality, and it is also true that we were not really good at this before. We are a small team, so I would like everyone to remember this. We started very recently. We are working on Alchemist and mistX specifically since only a few months. The go live was in May. We started to build the team in March. So all of this is very new, and I just would like to remind everyone that this is really great, because we are at the same time we've built already something that has had an impact on the ecosystem, on the Ethereum network. And we've been able to assemble really strong builders. So I have a really good hope and really have a very bright view of the future for Alchemist as a whole and for mistX. And now I'm really happy that we are able to start this new exercise and basically really getting your head in building this and making this successful. So I will give the hand to Hazelnut. We will start the presentation. Hazelnut is our marketer slash also I would like him to drive a bit more our relationship with the community. We don't have the means or the budget for getting someone specialized in that. We do have Stu and others doing the community management and relationship at the core level. But I also believe that we should also, as a team, as a product team, be closer to you. Begin giving that role for now.
Perfect. Thank you, Don, for that, and thank you, Stu, for setting this up. I'd like to welcome you all again to this call. It's really good to have you all here. Just a reminder, please mute yourself if you're not already muted. And because this is not a stage, if you do want to participate and jump in at any point, unmute yourself. We might need to moderate it a bit. Or if you like a message on the Alchemy channel, just give me a tag and we'll be able to work it out from there. On that note, let's get into it. So today, there's three main components that we want to cover in today's call. The first thing is we're going to present the roadmap that the team has been working on this last while. And we've emphasized that it's a draft because it's not completed yet. I'm going to go through the feedback we got from everyone, and it's been an amazing response, even though it's been such a short period of time since we sent out the form. We're going to go through the suggestions and we want to discuss it, and we would love, and I put there engaged, and I would love for you all to participate, ask questions, and if you think of any any fresh ideas, or if you have any points you'd like to suggest, definitely feel free to jump on, and let's talk about it. And that is the purpose of today's call, right? It's not for us to just talk one way. This is meant to be a two-way conversation, and so definitely feel free to engage and ask any questions and come up with any suggestions. And then the last point is we'll talk about we'll present an updated roadmap, and talk about our next steps.
So if I may just comment, the updated roadmap. So first of all, the roadmap that we're going to present to you is a short-term roadmap. We're in the crypto space, and we can't have a roadmap over the next 6 months or 1 year. That would not make any sense, because we view the crypto space as evolving really, really quickly. And what you think will be great in 6 months might not be relevant at all anymore in like 3-4 months, for example. So this is going to be a short-term roadmap. We're going to cover basically up to end of Q1 next year. And I wanted to say that, so we're going to present you the roadmap that we had in mind. And then the last roadmap, we're going to show you an updated version at the end, which is going to include some of the suggestions and some of the ideas. So that's going to be interesting to see as well.
Definitely. Thanks, Don. And apologies in advance. I've got a bit of a cold, so you might hear me sniffing every now and then. So, I thought I'd take a step back first, and just introduce mistX again, and just to take a step back from it all. The app itself, the DApp, the DEX launched in May 2021, and it was the first DEX that utilized Flashbot's technology to give the end user accessible front-running protection, free cancellations on trades, and no cost on failed transactions. And more recently, quite a unique feature which gives cashback to users, and we've seen great results through that. In the space of 5 months, so since it launched, 5-6 months, we've hit over $500 million in trading volume, approaching 600 million right now. Ever since we launched the rewards feature, it's been about 2 months now, or just over 2 months. Over 100K was given back to the user, which is an amazing thing. And then I think it's a bit longer than 3 months. Might have been a typo. Our Twitter followers has grown, and we're on about 4.5K, and we're very close to 5K, which is really cool. And we hope that's only going to continue to grow, and hopefully exponentially in this coming phase. The team, if you don't know them, there's one PM, which is Dyer. He's currently busy with his little one recently. Then there's 3 devs, Don, Zig, and Juice, and one smart contract developer is currently part-time, that's Nathan, and then myself, marketing, and I joined quite recently as well. That's where mistX is. That's where we've gotten to so far, and as you can see, the team is quite proud of where we are right now, and this is only the start, essentially. And it's only been a short period of time, and we only hope, and we're only planning to only grow this even more in the coming phase. And yeah, literally the sky's the limit, as they say. So it's on us to definitely push forward and continue to grow. So we're very confident in what's to come. So with the roadmap, and we felt like this is an important part to elaborate on. So when the team are thinking, and we went off and we were thinking about the future and the roadmap, and how to go about, what are the sort of key things to factor in when thinking about what are the features to put in, what are the areas to focus on, and where to prioritize. There are more elements to this, but we thought that these 3 are the sort of key components. Number 1, monetization, right? How can this product and how can this actual thing that we're developing, and this particular feature that we're developing, how will it help generate revenue, right? How will it help us grow our users and build that adoption across this space? That's a very, very crucial factor. The second one is the market or the target market. You know, is this particular feature or is this thing that we're building actually needed, right? How does it benefit the end user? And also how, you know, how to offer a unique experience within the Alchemist ecosystem, right? How do we harmonize that sync between, you know, we're in a quite a unique position being within an organization such as Alchemist, where there's different products and we can work on how thinking of ways of making them work together.
Yeah, so
That's number two.
Sorry, Zanet.
Go for it.
I'd like to add on this one that this is something we need to think about constantly, right? Because we are DEX, there's plenty of other DEXs in the market, so there's lots of competitors. So our focus should not be like on being a direct competitor of Uniswap. That would not really make sense. We're very small and we will not have enough resources to be in direct competition with them. However, we do believe that Uniswap does the DEX in one way, and we could do it in many different ways. And there could be other types of markets, other types of unique features that we could bring that would be driving user increase and adoption. So we need to focus on this. We need to expand our capabilities, the DEX capabilities, and we also do believe that we have a unique position in Alchemist because we do have, first of all, Alchemist is now an incubator, so we're going to be able to incubate many other projects and connect with those projects. But we do have already 2 other products that are very excellent and unique. And the uniqueness of Alchemist is that we can interconnect all of those systems together and provide something that maybe other DEXs do not have or are not capable of doing easily.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Don. The last point, also a very crucial factor, is resources. You know, being able to do a cost benefit analysis on each time. You know, each time you come to think of a particular feature or something you feel like we need to build. You know, does it fit budget? Does it fit you know, the actual human resources? Is it actually a priority at the time? And obviously as well, like, how feasible is it? You know, you come up sometimes. We all of us, I think, are guilty of this. We think of sometimes some amazing ideas, but when it comes to the actual nitty gritty, we realize that it's actually a lot larger than what we think, or it's a lot more difficult, or it needs a lot more time. So these three pillars are essentially the way we try to think about putting the roadmap together, and it's essentially used a lot when we come to think of just general decisions across the board. So we're going to jump into the draft roadmap. I'm going to go on to. Does this look fine, by the way, Don, or shall I go to the?
No, I think this is fine.
Is it okay here? Yeah. Okay.
It looks good. Yeah. So
Thank you.
Yeah. So those are the ideas that we have in mind. So now we are building the DEX version 2.0. So this is the roadmap for version 2, mistX version 2. But this specific first release is about version 2.0. First of all, what I'd like to say is that this is a complete rewrite of version 1. We have suffered, I would say, by very good choices that we made initially, which is that we decided to fork Uniswap UI. And I can defend that this was a really good choice initially because we needed to launch very quickly. Again, what I said before is that we started developing in March and we released mistX V1 in May with the Flashbot being integrated into it. So that was a very good choice to go quick, to be efficient, to release, and to get out a product. But we have suffered from it, and we are suffering every day with it, even as of now, because it's a fork. The complexity has increased drastically, and the cost of adding new features or fixing existing issues in UX, I would say, is extremely high. So we've decided like a couple of months ago, I think, we've decided that we will crash this V1 completely, and I'm only speaking about the UI, right, and the front end. But we will basically do a complete rewrite, and this is what V2.0 is about. So with V2.0, we're going to have an increased agility, and it's basically simpler. It's going to be easier to maintain. The cost is going to be much lower whenever we have issues and we need to fix things. So that's the first thing that I wanted to say, because this is super important to understand. Like, we're not going to revolutionize V1 over V2, but we are building a new ground on which we can build and add many features in the future. When I say we're not going to revolutionize it, I think we are going to revolutionize some parts of it, though, especially the UI, for example. The UI is going to be completely new. We believe that the UX, the user experience, would be better on V1 for several reasons. And one of those reasons is the UI. So we believe that this is going to be a much better experience, and we hope to be able to show that to you soon. We're also going to fix fees. So when I say fix fees, let's be clear about something. We believe that the way fees were designed in V1 were good until EIP 1559. And when that hit us, it was extremely difficult for us to basically get a proper fee displayed on the UI. Reason is that we used to be, some of you might remember, we used to be a gasless DEX, and some of the logic here to calculate fees were including the fact that we could be a gasless DEX. We can't be a gasless DEX anymore since EIP 1559. You have to pay, regardless of the design you choose, you have to pay the base fee for every transaction, and that has to be paid in gas. And that has basically messed up completely the way we were calculating fees and the way we designed it. And this has been extremely difficult for us to change and fix because of what I was saying before, because of the complexity that were added because of due to the forking. So we've decided to review this completely and have a complete redesign of the fees. We're adding a new quoting service. That's a brand new infrastructure layer in the DEX version 2.0. And this quoting service will allow us to fix the fees that are displayed and that are shown on the UI. I'd like to mention one more thing here, which is we are basing our quotes on Uniswap and Uniswap v2 and Uniswap, and SushiSwap. We will add Uniswap v3 quotes here. So I think a lot of you is going to be pleased to hear that. Having said that, if you compare our quoting to Uniswap or SushiSwap and the fees, we're going to have a small top-up fee, which is called the mistX fee, something that we use to monetize the DEX, basically. So that's not going to be a big difference. We are now discussing this internally on how the fee, what the amount the fee will be. I can't share it at the moment because this is not fully validated yet, but we have something in mind. It's not going to be a huge fee, but definitely we can't be, if you look at the quotes plus the fees, we can't be cheaper than Uniswap and SushiSwap because we have this fee and we basically need to pay and to monetize the DEX. If you look at CarSwap, because I know a lot of you are concerned about CarSwaps being one of the main competitor, CarSwap subsidizes fees, and this is not something we aim to do or we believe we can do. We have limited funding. We don't have any VC backing up. As you know, it's the community that represents our investors. And for that reason, it will not make sense to start subsidizing fees. Lastly, for the DEX v2.0, we're really working on something that we believe is very important also for UX, which is the interactive experience. So you will see what it looks like in a few weeks, but I'd like to say that we are really focusing on making this a bit more interactive and displaying more information about what's happening for your transaction. So that's the plan for the end of the year, end of December. We aim to release the DEX version 2.0. And then as soon as this is done and behind us, we look to release as quickly as possible a new big feature, which is limit orders. So we know that many of you have requested this feature in the past, so we're happy to be able to bring it. I can tell you here that limit orders is not something small. It's a big development, and we did not aim to develop everything ourselves. So we're going to use a third-party service to integrate limit orders. And the idea of limit orders is to increase the volume of transactions and increase adoption of the DEX. The next item we want to work on, and this is exactly an example of what I was saying before, when we have unique features that we can bring in Alchemist. We want to include a brand new feature, a unique feature, which will allow you to use your Crucible V2 as a wallet. So basically, as you know, you can push, you can transfer ERC20 tokens on your Crucible. The idea with this is that you connect your Crucible as you would connect any wallet, such as MetaMask, for example, or your Ledger. And then you can directly swap your tokens, which are directly in your vault, in your Crucible vault. So the idea of this is that we will be able to increase the utility of Crucible, promote the adoption of Crucible, and really have a unique feature within the Alchemist ecosystem. The third item that we want to work on is the gamification. So as you know, today we have another unique feature that we have. And again, we want to focus on bringing unique features here, is the cashback rewards feature. So this is unique. I don't know any other DEX that does this today. And the idea about that is to let me re-explain how it works today, so it's clear for everyone. Today, if your trade is eligible for an arbitrage opportunity, this will get executed, and then you'll get 40% back from this the profit that was made executing this arbitrage opportunity. So as a user, you get 40% back. So this is very basic. And we want to gamify this. We want to be a bit more creative around this. So we want to change the rule that the user creating the arbitrage opportunity gets the whole reward for himself. We want to review the percentages here. I don't have exact numbers yet, but for example, it could be like the user gets 35%, and we keep like 10% on the side. And then we could randomize the reward left to some people trading on mistX. And that will be quite interesting, because it should increase the user adoption and transaction volume, because a lot of users who are not trading big volumes and who would not maybe be trading transactions which are eligible for being eligible for arbitrage, a lot of those users will suddenly get an opportunity to get rewards as well. We want to, so I don't have the whole details on that. We need to work on the details here, but basically we want to identify the achievements. Those achievements could be, for example, you've traded 10 trades this week, or you've had 5 trades in the last 5 months which have had arbitrage opportunity, or anything really. This is something that we haven't identified yet, but this is something that we need to do. And those achievements could increase in the randomization process that selects which trade is going to get a reward. So those achievements could increase your chances, basically. Last point, which is also around the gamification, we want to explore the possibility of creating NFT badges or POPs linked to achievements, and show them on the page, on the leaderboard page, eventually in the mistX DEX. So the whole idea behind this is really to make it more fun, but also grow this unique feature of the rewards and gamify the whole experience. So lastly, and this is I've put ideas to work on because this needs more research. But some of those things are really things we want to achieve, and you will see later that a lot of those things were discussed in were proposed in the forms that we've received from all the community. So the first one is the copper integration. Again, here, this is the idea that we should integrate better and have the whole ecosystem of Alchemist linked together. What it means here is that Copper is launching tokens on mainnet and other chains. And those projects which are launching on Copper, they basically get liquidity upon the end of the launch. We need to think about a solution, and we would like to work on that and develop this to incentivize those projects to move their liquidity into liquidity pools under mistX. That means that if we're able to do that, you can imagine that a new project launching on Copper could start getting liquidity by selling their token on Copper, then get a reward program under Crucible, and immediately transfers liquidity on mistX to be able to trade. And that will be something that's really unique, and that will be something that's really integrated and offer a single and unified experience around the Alchemist ecosystem. The next point is L2 integrations. So, I mean, it's not anything surprising here, I guess. A lot of people are going to move to L2s. We want to be part of it. We want to launch liquidity on L2s eventually. We want to be able to trade on L2s. There's a lot of things to do here. I can't list them all, but yeah, this is something that we really want to go into and that we want to expand. Same for other blockchains. This needs to be defined on which blockchains we'll be interested to expand. That will probably come a bit later, but we also do not want to be stuck on Ethereum only. And the last one is liquidity pools, which I spoke about already. So as you can see, there's something that everybody needs to understand. We used to have a unique feature, which is the Flashbots integration, and they're delivering protection when you trade on mistX. As everybody knows here, right? This is one of the reasons why we had the call last week. This is not going to be a unique feature anymore, or this is not a unique feature anymore. So you can use the RPC. I do believe that we have a superior solution because we have integrated with Flashbots natively. So our integration is better than using the RPC. But overall, anyone today can use the Flashbots RPC, which does not use mistX anymore, and go trade on Uniswap. So this is why I believe that we need to expand our reach, expand mistX DEX, and really focus on those unique features and other layers, and become a DEX that's available across all the ecosystem in crypto and not only Ethereum. All right, I think that's it for me, Hazelnut.
Thank you, Don. Some really exciting things there. And just to add to your last point about the RPC, I think there's also a massive community out there, or users who don't know about the RPC, or who are not the type to use it and add it to their wallet and stuff like that. So we will hopefully be able to capture them as well. But as you said, it's about increasing our features and our unique selling points for sure.
Yeah, well, I'd
Cool.
like to add one more thing. Sorry, I just thought about it now. As you can see here, we don't have any plans for the API. The reason is today the API doesn't have any advantage. It doesn't have any clear advantage, right? The API today is enabling third-party projects to send trades on Flashbots. We do have some advantages, such as cancellations, which is not available on the Flashbots API. It's only available on the mistX API. But we view the API as something that exists, that we will naturally expand and add features whenever the DEX requires more features. And we do view this as a service that will become better for third-party projects to integrate. We also view it as a service that some partners will use actively, due to the fact that we are going to work with them and tell them that in order to do this and that with us, they should use the mistX API. But our focus, as you can see here, is not going to be on the mistX API. It's more going to be a natural evolution of the mistX API. And then we'll see later if that API is something that could be monetized again. Having said that, we do believe that we can monetize slightly the API by enabling the arbitrage opportunity, not only on the mistX, on the trades that are traded on mistX, but also on the trades that go through the API. So we're going to explore this, but this is not something that is going to take it's not as big as it should be a big milestone on the roadmap, basically. All right, that's it for me, Hazelnut.
Thank you, Don. Before we move on, the next stage is we're going to jump into the response we got from the community and the poll we did and the sort of features. Would anyone like to flag anything up or ask any questions? Okay. Okay, cool. I'll take that silence as a no for now. All right, let me jump into the next.
Yeah, so I think
sorry.
we said.
Again,
Sorry, I have a quick question. Don't you think that in the roadmap, don't you think that the inclusion of overchains is not like a kind of priority compared to other stuff that you did put before in the roadmap?
Could you repeat that again?
I was asking, in the roadmap in Q2, you are thinking to add the ability to trade on overchains than Ethereum, which is quite expensive in terms of fees. Do you have plans to? I mean, don't you think it could be prioritized, or do you see it as not very important?
It's a very good question. First of all, what you see here is target dates and not a time where we're going to start working on it for all the items, except for the IDs to work. But some of the IDs to work, we're going to start working on it in Q1. We can review some of these some of the priorities, but we are constrained by a few things, which is the size of the team first. And we are looking for expanding the team. So we are hoping that adding new people to the team will help us to move forward some of those integration. And we are also constrained in the fact that some of those things require some research and learning new skills, or hiring somebody with the right skills. So this is something that at the moment is a bit early to fully commit, for example, on other chains, that we can move it further, earlier. But if we can, we'll definitely do it. In my view, though, just to conclude on that, in my view is that we'll probably first work on L2 integrations where the fees are cheaper. And we will probably prioritize this one first before moving to other chain in that order.
Thank you.
Thanks for the question. It's a good one. Okay, I think I'll go on to the next bit.
Just a quick question.
Oh, yeah?
How can someone become part of the team?
Very good question. There is an application form that you can just fill in Alchemist. And these days I'm having a look at the applications. I didn't go like as far as 6 months ago, but I've reviewed the recent ones up to a few months ago. So I'm still reviewing those. I started the process only a few days ago. And then I can tell you here in this meeting, in this call, if any of you has JavaScript front-end, back-end, React, Solidity, and Rust skills, will welcome you to. You're welcome to contact me and DM me directly. I'll be happy to review your application. This is a bit new to me because this is the first time I'm hiring someone in Alchemist. So I'm also discovering the process, and I believe we can maybe. Now the applications are the only way to reach Alchemist, but I believe that we may be finding more flexible solutions in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Anyone else before we move on? Right then, third time lucky. Cool. So, if most of you recall, whoever filled out the form, the first part of it was to sort of prioritize or pick 3 of the most important features that you felt were important to a DEX or to using a DEX or to even mistX. This is quite cool. As you can see, the results sort of speak for themselves. But top of the list was having low fees. Sort of V3, which Don mentioned earlier, is something that's definitely very close. Limit orders as well. Liquidity pools. And then you can see the rest there: pricing / quoting, reliability of successful transactions, a simpler user interface, and the last one there is interactivity. So we're hoping, obviously, I think at the top there, we're definitely trying to focus there, and it's really good that feedback came through, because it gives also the team an understanding of, this is where the users and the community really care about the most. So hopefully this is something that will, as part of the roadmap, and as you heard, we are working in all of these areas to deliver. So yeah, pretty cool. And thank you all for everyone who participated. I think we had like over 110 or something like that responses in a couple of days. So thank you all for everyone who participated. I just think the next part. Yeah, so the second part of the form was to actually give suggestions or ideas or features that they felt like would be useful to mistX, or what they would like to see added to the DEX. And what we did is we sort of categorized them into these 9. L2 / extra or other blockchains, being multilingual, gamification, user interface and experience, limit orders, wallet integrations, data, liquidity, and lower fees. So we felt that these were the sort of areas, because there were a lot of suggestions that were quite similar. So we categorized them, and hopefully now we're going to go through, I think, the vast majority of them, and discuss it together. And again, like I said, if anyone would like to come up, each one of these sections, give their thoughts, give their ideas. At the end of the day, the space moves quite so fast, right? And there's going to be things that you guys might know, or that you've been made aware of, and it'll be really cool to share that our way, so we can have that two-way conversation. So the first one, okay. So layer 2 and other blockchains. So these were some of the suggestions that came through, and a lot of them are quite similar, right? You can see a lot of optimism there, Arbitrum, and Polygon, and other cross-chain sort of and cross-chain bridges. Yeah, I think Don touched on this when he was talking about the coming roadmap. This is something for hopefully down the line. It still needs, I think, a good chunk of good research. I think this is where the space, or at least sort of Ethereum, is moving towards, all of these L2 solutions and protocols. So definitely something that's in the pipeline, but a bit maybe further down, as we familiarize ourselves with this space.
Yeah. So on that one, Sorry,
Yeah.
that one, it's very interesting to see that many people have suggested layer 2s, and we also believe that layer 2s are super important to get integrated into. And so yeah, it's a very good sign. We do not, I mean, as we said, we need more research. We also do not want to mention now what we have in mind because it's a bit early. And again, by the time we start integrating it, we may have something else in mind. But definitely we'll have a look at this and see to integrate some of those layers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's with that. Does anyone have anything they'd like to add or mention or suggest? Feel free to unmute yourself and jump in. Okay.
Maybe I was thinking, as that, maybe we can go through all the proposals, the community proposals, and then at the end go backwards if we need to, rather than asking every time.
Sure thing. Okay, then we'll do that. Right. Moving on to the next one, gamification and low fees. Again, these are some of the suggestions that came through. The first one up here, quite interesting. A weekly lottery system which plucks out a winner based on the total ETH amount or equivalent transacted that week. Odds are distributed by those values. More transaction value equals more chance of winning lottery. I don't want to read it all, but it kind of gives that's the gist of it basically. Quite interesting. And then the second one, reward frequent users of mistX. 10 trades in a week, you receive a certain amount, or 20, you receive a bit more. And interestingly, at the end there, you receive the reward in your Crucible. Don mentioned actually something on this a bit earlier. Do you have any comments on this you'd like to add, Don?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting to see that some of you also thought about gamification. I really like the idea. I also very much like the idea of pushing this eventually in the Crucible. So we'll have to think about that. I don't know if it's going to be easy to do first, but if we can, that's really something that will drive even more value and utility in the Crucible. So if it makes sense, if it doesn't cost an amount of fees that would not make sense to do that, then we'll definitely consider this.
Yeah, definitely, very really cool,
The
cool
fees.
feature to have.
So just to add on that, right? When we'll be on other layers, this is going to change a lot of perceptions and eventually decisions that we can make. But definitely, and as you all know, the fees in ETH mainnet are a blocker or they're a break to some of the things that we could do because they're so expensive. So we always need to be very careful in the decision that we make that, yes, we're going to pay fees no matter what, but we can't have $250 or $150 fees for something like that. So we need to be careful with what we're doing. So we're always going to be limited by this, but regardless, we're thinking of doing simple transfers, which will be still expensive in fees, but less than any other actions, for example.
Yeah, very good point. And yeah, the last one on this one is to low fees. Low fees. First point here is better routing to maximize user value. If there's no choice left, then arbitrage opportunity must be created due to bad routing, then at least give the user a decent percentage of the opportunity created. I think that's already the case, by the way, in terms of giving the user a decent percentage. And then yeah, there's one next to it is the hope to lower the threshold and cost of transactions.
So on the first one, first of all, I'm gonna speak on, but I'm not an expert in that. Our expert is Nathan, but he couldn't join the call today, unfortunately. But we do believe that a good routing doesn't exclude arbitrage. We know that our competitor CowSwap, especially on the Twitter, right, is really pushing for this idea, but we don't believe that. And there's different ways to do arbitrage. There is more creative ways to do arbitrage and the simple arbitrage opportunity you could develop. We are not specialized in building arbitrage ourselves. We use third-party for this, third-party services, sorry. And we will push our third-party services to complexify their strategies and to be more efficient. And as such, I mean, the belief I have is that if we continue research there and we are more efficient, then these services will be able to extract arbitrage maybe in a wider way. You could think of arbitrage in different layers or blockchains, or I don't know, to be honest. This needs to be researched. This is not something we're going to do ourselves. We're relying on third-party services. But this is something that is really important for us because we want that to be really efficient. Now, we did go in a different route than CowSwap, for example, because we're not providing routing as such. And this is a choice because routing, building a routing protocol like CowSwap has done is extremely complex. That if it took something like, I don't want to say something that's wrong, but it took years for them to build this. It would be extremely expensive, and it will be dedicated to mainnets when we have the plan to expand to other protocols. We understand that CowSwap is defending this idea that if you have perfect routing, there is no arbitrage at all. We don't really agree with this. And we don't want to fight with this. We don't care. Our unique proposition here is not to fight against CowSwap on whether they have better routing or not. Yes, they have better routing, but we want to play this in a different way, that we want to gamify the experience and give back rewards to even people who are going to have no opportunity for arbitrage.
Yeah, thanks for that, Don.
There was, sorry, just on the fees, because I've seen a question on the Alchemy channel. Let me go back. I think the question was asked a few minutes ago. It's Bondo, and he says, why not include the ETH fees in the transaction itself, like what CowSwap is doing? It somehow feels like the trade is gasless. I will let Juice, who's our fees expert, I hope he will be not unhappy for me to say that, reply to this question. Juice, if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you repeat that question? Sorry.
The question is, why not include the ETH fees in the transaction itself, like what CowSwap is doing? It somehow feels like the trade is gasless.
So CowSwap does supplement their fees, so they pay separately. Now we've discussed doing similar things. It does require an additional transfer to transfer ETH specifically, so it does cost a little bit more gas. We're trying to keep our gas costs in transactions with the mistX router as low as possible, so that's why we don't do any additional transactions like that. Previously, we were taking out the fee for mistX and the miner bribe directly out of the trade. So we had somewhat of a mechanism that worked similar to that, though obviously with EIP 1559 as Don mentioned, we're no longer able to we also have to supply the base fee there too. So I would say though, even though CowSwap does subsidize a portion of their fee, they do also obfuscate a lot of the fees in different ways. So it appears that their fees are significantly cheaper. However, it's not that much cheaper aside from what they pay themselves. So we're certainly trying to, in the next version, be far more transparent and simplify the way in which we display our fees so that it's a little bit more clear to the user exactly what they're paying. I think one of the major problems with V1 was that it was a little bit hard to understand exactly how the fee structure worked, where certain fees were being pulled out, like for the LP or for the mistX protection, and then what was being paid for with base fee in ETH amount. So we certainly plan to improve that in this next version, and I think we have that covered. So
thank you, Drews. I hope this answered the question.
Nice, thanks, Juice. Definitely our fees expert. All right, cool. Let's move on to the next bit. So three areas here: data, visualization and charts, wallet, and liquidity. So with data, we had a few in terms of optimizing data charts and graphs to make the interface clearer, automatic data update and chart optimization, and add some data charts. I think with this one, we thought it potentially ties into two. So there's one on the actual DEX itself, and potentially even on June analytics, which is already out there. That's with data, and then wallet integrations. So one here says link with wallet aggregators such as Zerion and Zappa. This will help raise brand awareness and just to support more wallets. And then the last one here, liquidity. And the suggestion here is liquidity falls with upper launch listings with mistX, which I think Don already mentioned as one of the something that's already in the pipeline for in the current draft roadmap. But yeah, in terms of the first two, is there anything we'd like to add? Anyone from the team?
Yeah, I'd like to add a few things. Sorry, Juice. Yeah.
Go ahead, Don. I can speak after you.
Oh, it's okay. I spoke too much. It's your turn.
All right, no worries. So I guess in regards to the first 2 points on the data and charts, we certainly have plans to add a little bit more of our data available visually in the UI at some point. Most likely in the V2 version of mistX, we'll have some additional charts to show volume, fees, all kinds of stuff like that. We actually do currently have a lot of that data available today. We have mistX Analytics API, which will return all of the volume traded on mistX, all the different pairs, tokens, every swap, and then we also are working on endpoints to return our fees and revenue created by the product. As for the wallets and wallet integrations, it's always our hope to support as many wallets as we can. We are a little limited based on how we create and sign our transactions. We use ETH sign and ETH sign transaction to sign the transaction before submitting it to the backend, which is submitted to Flashbots. So we are limited by what wallets support those two methods, and that's been most of the challenge thus far with supporting additional wallets on mistX, and something that we're hoping to improve significantly in this next version. So we certainly hear you in regards to supporting more wallets, and this is definitely part of what we have planned for the near future.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to add is, as you know, we're a small team. We have limited resources. And for example, if you ask me if we should focus our resources on doing some nice graphs on the mistX UI, or adding many wallets to please everyone, or build mistX on a new layer, for example, or a new chain, definitely the new layer will be a higher priority. So I'm not saying that we will not do this. As Drew said, we will do this. It's just that we need to fit this in whenever it makes sense and whenever we can. Those actions do have a lower priority than the other ones. Having said that, if the community all believe and there is like a consensus that this wallet is really missing and needs to be integrated as soon as possible, then we'll be very happy to organize. I mean, to work on the integration. At the end of the day, we also need to think whether it's like how many users are going to use this new feature. And is it going to drive more adoption and more users, so increase monetization, or is it not going to be so beneficial compared to the cost of developing and maintaining these features? I'm just thinking now out loud. Maybe we could have a vote for what like with a list of wallets from the community, and see which one will be really missing and which one we should add eventually at some point in the roadmap. What do you think, Drews and Hazelnut and Zig?
Yeah,
I think
Pretty cool
Good.
idea. Definitely. I mean,
All right,
close
so
to the
yeah.
time, yeah, we just do a short list and we get out there and we get everyone to vote or even suggest. Good idea?
Yeah.
Definitely put our users first here.
All right, so yeah, let's do that. I think it's a good idea because wallets are super important. We all hear you here. Even though we want you to use Crucible as your wallet at some point in Q1, we fully hear you and we fully understand that not everyone wants to use MetaMask. Oh, by the way, we didn't mention it, but we should say it, right. We have planned to support as it is today MetaMask and Ledger, but we have planned to add the support of Trezor for the launch of V2.
Mm,
So that's a big one.
nice. That actually come up a couple of times, so hopefully a few people will be happy with that one.
Yep.
All right, cool. Is there anything else here you'd like to add? Move on to the next bit.
That's it for me.
Alrighty. Okay. So we got a lot of feedback on Crucible itself, which was interesting, and we thought we'd take this opportunity to bring these suggestions up here to let you know that we've actually taken it on board, and we will pass it on to the Crucible team. But it's good. I think some people might, I don't know, maybe some people out there are a bit confused maybe, but mistX and Crucible are two separate products and two separate teams. We're definitely aiming, and Don mentioned this a few times, and we definitely want to have this holistic sort of ecosystem where there is this seamless integration between the products, and hopefully that's one of the goals. But yeah, definitely we'll pass this on to the team, and they got some, the team that are working really hard, and they've got a lot of stuff coming on the way. So we'll definitely stay tuned for what they have in store.
Yeah, Crucible is a super important project. We understand that those questions are super important for you to get an answer from. So we will pass it along. I've had Joe. He couldn't join the call. Unfortunately, we checked if he was available, but he wasn't. So I've discussed with Joy. So if some of you don't know, Joy is the PM for Crucible project. And we will pass this to him, and he will manage this to get some replies and some views on those ones.
Yeah, there's one point actually here that we came across. If you recall, we discussed it. The tax first point here, which is the ability that whenever you come to do a trade on mistX, you're able to sort of sweep a percentage of the transaction value to like your Crucible or to like another wallet or something. This particular example uses the Crucible, which sounds quite cool. So it's like a percentage that you set as a user. This particular suggestion who came from community member used tax as an example. So if for example, that for every transaction you have to pay a certain amount of tax on it or something, then you can just automatically do that, and it automatically goes to in this case your Crucible, which was quite an interesting idea for sure.
Thanks for reminding that, Hazem, that actually this is a really cool idea. It would not maybe be too complex either to implement, since it's we could add an additional transaction, which would be a transfer to your Crucible. There will be a bit of UX and UI work around this, but this also gives more utility to Crucible. So we'll have to see. We'll have to weigh in this developing this feature versus the other high priority task that we want to do, basically.
Yeah, definitely. So no, thanks for whoever sent that through. It's a good idea.
Yeah, this is very creative. This is awesome.
Yeah. I'll move on to the next bit. So, excuse me. UI, user interface, and user experience, and limit orders. So there's a couple of things here. Multiple transactions at once. A nicer UI would be huge. More eye candy, more allow users to opt out of Flashbot's protection, so allowing them to just use it as a regular DEX. A clever animation while waiting for transactions to complete. A transaction explorer to be able to track multiple pending orders, and then multilingual, which a couple of people mentioned. Would anyone like to touch on any of those points?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, sorry.
No problem. As far as the multiple transactions at once, I think the team we agree this is a really interesting idea. I think, but probably comes more into play once we get into L2 integrations and swaps with significantly lower gas fees. Multiple transactions with at current gas levels could be significantly expensive. Not that this wouldn't be advantageous or potentially advantageous for somebody that is trading very, very large amounts, but we see this coming into play a lot more once transaction fees are significantly cheaper, at which point it makes sense to and could be a very interesting feature to allow a user to swap multiple tokens into essentially liquidate multiple tokens into a single output token. And then also as far as the allowing users to opt out of Flashbot's protection, capturing audience like a regular DEX. We've discussed that. That's an interesting one. It could potentially come later on. I don't personally see this as a needle moving feature, though it could be a nice to have at some later point if somebody would like to opt out of Flashbots and potentially try to get inclusion at a faster rate through the regular mempool. And as far as the UI, I mean, we're certainly that's in the works with Uni V2. We have some ideas for some cool animations and additional kind of bells and whistles to really spruce it up. And then multilingual support. Obviously, we do try to support as many languages as we can within reason, though we are a small team, primarily English speaking. So that is what we're starting off, at least to start, and then we will expand as we go.
Yeah, for sure, man. Some really, really cool stuff happening with UIs, with the UI. So stay tuned for that and some of the interactivity around that. Cool. That was it. Don, did you have anything you wanted to add? I mean,
no, I'm in line with everything that Drus has said. It's exactly
nice.
What I was thinking ever.
Yeah, limit orders. That's very much in the works, and hopefully something that will the team will be able to plow through and deliver. Hopefully very soon. The team. Sorry, excuse me. Was anything? Do you want to add anything to this?
I think somebody's not written.
Yeah.
We need stew.
I'll look for them now.
Add anything to this?
I don't know. It was Hyper Miller. Don't worry.
Oh, thanks,
yeah, I want to add something. Like somebody says, Gelato solution of other decks is difficult to use. So we will use Gelato, and we are dependent on how they're implementing their limit orders, right? So since we are not developing from the ground up limit orders, and that would not make sense for our team because we have other unique features that we can deliver. We will be relying on them improving the system. However, we can work with them to report anything that doesn't work well and that we believe should be improved and get a new version out there with them so that the whole user experience is better if you believe that it's not good at the moment. So we'll be very happy to get your feedback on this integration. And we'll be very happy to report this and work with Gelato on this, on doing a better solution if that's highlighted.
Nice. And I think this is the last one in terms of last slide in terms of the suggestions that we got through. API, DEX integrations, and then miscellaneous batch swap of coins. So essentially to combine residual coins of small amounts and turn it into Mist. And then the last one here, decentralized leverage trading.
So on API, I spoke about it already. Anyone can use our API. It's an open and permissionless API. We want to start monetizing it with enabling arbitrage with no cashback rewards. We'll keep the opportunity, at least at the beginning. This may change in the future. We may open the cashback rewards after. This is really not set in stone, and this could lead us to negotiations with some partners. And for the other points, so the one that's interesting is centralized leverage trading. Why not? This is a big one. I don't know if we have the shoulder or the team, the size of the team for this kind of trading and develop this kind of platform. But if one day we become maybe a larger organization, a larger group at mistX Labs, this is something. I mean, we're not dismissing any ideas, of course. This is something we could do eventually. The other one, combine residual coins. I think it's a great idea. I know that something like this exists on Binance, for example. So combine it into Mist. That's really a great idea. It gives more utility to Mist. I don't think this is realistic in the ETH with the fees, the high fees that we're having at the moment. But definitely this could be an option to add in the layer 2 and other chains eventually.
Yeah, definitely. It's a really it's a cool idea for sure. As long as we can fix the fees issue. Okay, I think that's it. Does anyone have anything else that they'd like to add? Yep, who was that?
Just
Yeah,
like
sorry.
one
Yeah,
additional thing.
Okay.
Yeah, just as far as the DEX integrations, I think you covered that very well, Don. And I just want to say that we are still very open to partnerships and encourage anybody to reach out to any of us on the team if you know of or are represent a project that wants to integrate the API. It is certainly ready to be integrated by anybody. So we certainly don't want to discourage anybody from doing so, though it is not a primary focus for the team at this point.
Yeah, and as I said before, the API that we're proposing today will evolve. It will be different and have more features while we are growing the DEX and we're expanding to other capabilities. So definitely, if the app integrates with us today, while we are expanding the features, they may have also advantages and new features delivered to the API. It's just that now, as we said, we are a small team, so our focus is to grow our user adoption on the DEX and to start really and focusing really on monetizing all those features that we're going to build. Hazelnut, so what we said is that we will welcome questions around this and maybe show the new version of the roadmap with the added communities proposals. Maybe we can start by showing the new roadmap, which is the short-term roadmap, and then we can take any questions at the end.
Let me do that now. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the updated roadmap. All right. Can you confirm that the screen has changed?
Yes. So I mean, it's the same thing here, and here we are open to questions and anything that you will suggest. Here we've added in the Crucible V2 integration, we've added the possibility of swapping when you do a swap using your Crucible wallet, then you will have reduced fees, mistX fees. That was part of the proposal. I mean, the proposal of the community was that you could get some rewards. We've transformed this into get reduced mistX fees. So that's the idea is to incentivize users to use their Crucible whenever they want to swap. In the gamification part, there was some ideas of achievements. So, for example, more transactions per week or more transactions that you've done on mistX will increase your chance to get rewarded. And then in Q2, so it's not, again, Q2 is really just, it's not a target date here, it's just an ID, but some of those work will start earlier eventually. But here we've added some of the ideas that thought made sense in the next short to mid-term. So cross swap bridges, that could be something that would be very interesting. Like you swap a token and it automatically bridges to another network, and then you can get you can buy the token that's not available on mainnet initially. Allow users to opt out the flashbots protection. Why not? We're not against it. We'll need to see how impactful this is for our backend and our API. Data graphs, we spoke about it. Multilingual, we spoke about it as well, and multi-transactions. All of those are, I mean, especially the data graph and multilingual are not a priority, but if we can add it without spending too much time and effort, why not? We'll see. Multilingual could be if we develop it in a way that's opened. Maybe we could just add a layer, and then everything could be community driven. So it will mean that we only add a small piece of work here, and then open a dictionary, for example, to the community for providing all the translations. Multi-transactions, that's a lot of work. I'm not sure this is going to be integrated soon, but again, this is going to have to be prioritized once we integrate L2s, because it definitely makes more sense to do multi-transactions on L2s or other chains than mainnet due to the fees, the high fees. Having said that, I'd like to also add that ETH2 is coming at some point. We don't know when, but it's going to be there at some point. And we're going to have to identify all the milestones and rework on the roadmap to make sure that we include ETH2 somewhere here and review the benefits of ETH2 and how this will impact our plan, basically. So we have not, if you see some of the proposals that are not there, part of this roadmap, it's not that we've ignored those, we didn't ignore those, but we will consider them on the fly whenever we believe that some of those should be included. We cannot do everything that was proposed in the next 3-4 months, for example. But definitely some of those ideas that we've seen will be considered. So for example, the option to swap and keep a percentage of the swap into Crucible is not mentioned here, but this is something that we could see as fitting in somewhere either during those next months or after eventually. So I think that's it for our presentation and the roadmap. We have had a lot of feedback from you. We thank you very much about that. We will really, we welcome any questions now. Anything that you think we could review. Any suggestions that you want to give us now while we are live. We're happy, as you can see, this is a draft here. We're happy to update it live if we believe that it makes sense.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, is there any way that we can incentivize other projects like other DEXs to use our API, like sharing our revenue, like small percentage of it?
This is so our mistX API is a Flashbots is basically a Flashbots API, right? And it's now in direct competition, I would say, with the Flashbots API that Flashbots has released. We do have a leverage on two things. We have a leverage on the fact that we provide cancellations and the fact that we provide arbitrage opportunities. The big question that we need to ask ourselves is how long will it take for Flashbots to fill that gap? And how much effort do we want to put in something where Flashbots will propose the exact same solution soon? So yes, we can. Well, it's not a no. Definitely we can. but we are gonna play it more in our focus of resources is more gonna be on developing the DEX and unique features. And while we do this, we will not refuse any integration, and we could propose, and this is what I said earlier, we could propose eventually some partnership where we enable cashback rewards to the users of the API. So we're not closing the door to anything, but this is a roadmap that really shows how where our focus will be for the coming months.
Well, I think we should move first and should not be afraid of Flashbot. You know, we should capitalize as a first movers. Yeah, maybe it's not going to be sustainable forever, but it will give some recognition for our project.
So if we did that, I'm fully in line with you, and we did discuss about it at great length, and I was even someone who was advocating for this idea and pushing for it. But we discussed and we realized that the cost of such action was could be eventually higher than the benefits, because we're only going to benefit from it for a few weeks maybe. I say weeks, I don't know, I have no clue what Flashbot is intending to do and they're planning, but they move really fast. So let's say we spend a week of work and delay DEX, because like we have such limited resources that if we did that now, that will delay for sure the release of the DEX version 2.0. So if we did that and then benefit from it only for a few weeks, we'll have really a small amount of monetization from that. It will not be worth impacting all the plan that you have in front of you and missing out the integration on other layers, the Crucible integration, the expansion of the gamification. We believe that those are way more important to be ready for the next year, where many projects will basically be able to be on other layers and have some of the features that we wanted to go with. So again, our view here is propose unique features and expand to all the layers that we can.
Thanks, Don. Does anyone have any other questions or suggestions?
I'll just add here, Hazelnut. I've had to unfortunately mute a number of people because we were getting some serious feedback and static or whatever you want to call it from them. So if anybody can't talk, it's because of that. And please feel free to go into the Alchemy channel or the mistX help channel and ask your questions in there. It was just simply the fact that we couldn't conduct the call with the background noise from you, so I had to mute you. So apologies for that.
Yeah, thanks for the reminder, Stu.
Yeah, they could raise their hands in the Alchemy Discord channel, and then you can unmute them directly.
Yeah.
Helps. I can see a question here. Is there a link of the slides in the call? So this video is recorded. I don't believe we will share the slides. Is it what we said, Hazelnut?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's a very community thing, right? It's a very local thing, and we just wouldn't want it to circulate out there, and there's some alpha in here as well.
We'll share the link with the video, recorded video, and the other thing is that out of this roadmap, we're gonna draft a final version, which will not be as it will not include so many details, because in this draft roadmap there is a lot of text. It's gonna be a bit shorter, and we're gonna try to finalize it and release it by the end of the week.
Yeah. I mean, definitely don't anyone think that this is the announcement of V2. By the way, we're gonna definitely create a lot of buzz around it as well on social media and hype it up a lot more. So this is still a prequel to what's to come.
Yeah, the call has been recorded by our genius friend Ferb. It normally takes a couple of hours to process, and when it does, I'll send the link out. Don has requested. Yeah.
Perfect.
Legend.
Do we have anyone else who wants to ask questions about any of the points that were discussed? Feel free really to participate, because this is your call. This is a roadmap that we want to share with you, and it's really the right time to say whether you have any other ideas or proposals or suggestions that we should do.
Yeah. And just to add, I mean, even if you don't have another idea, but you think something on here should be prioritized, or you think something on here is a lot more important than another thing, that's also something that you can feel free to bring on, or suggest.
And again, I've replied to this already, but I want to say it again. We've heard, I forgot who it was, but somebody mentioned about prioritizing other layers or other chains. And I'm convinced by this. We will see to move it earlier if we can. But again, as I said before, it's a matter of resources and research at the moment. So we'll be able to commit to that a bit later. Now we are really in the process of freeing resources and hiring more people.
I guess I would ask, and I'm a member of the community as much as anyone else, Don.
You are.
What's the next? What's the next step for you guys over the next few weeks? What can the community expect to see potentially in terms of? I'm not, I know well enough, and I know developers well enough to never ask a developer for a deadline, right? But in terms of, say, the next couple of weeks, what can the community expect to see from the team?
Very good question. So we are going to release a very first version of V2 internally. It's not for the community, internally within the mistX team only. And that's going to be like an alpha version. Then we're going to release a new a new version, like which is going to be still an alpha, but with major bugs fixed within Alchemist, but only for seniors and other team members. So it's not going to be open to community either. And then at the end of December, we're going to launch V2, but we're not going to launch V2 as the final version. We're going to launch V2 as a beta version. In the meantime, you can expect some, as Hazelnut has said, you can expect some hype built around this, where we're going to share some details around V2, maybe a few screenshots. I don't know. I'll let Hazelnut tell you what he has in mind. But basically, this is the idea of what we're planning to do. So we're going to launch a beta version, and you're going to have the option to switch to V1 and trade on V1 if you want, or you're going to have an option, or by default, you're going to see the V2 on the main screen. And then, depending on the feedback of the beta version that you're going to see, we will switch off V1 maybe a week or 2 weeks after. It really depends on how many bugs we have to fix and how many issues are raised by the community and users.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, definitely. We're gonna see how we can start to drip some nice alpha, especially with the UI. All I can say is that the team have done an incredible job, and I have to give a shout out to Rit as well, who played a massive part in that. So yeah, really exciting stuff, and hopefully really soon we can, I can't wait to be able to share that stuff with you guys and with the wider community as well.
Yeah, Rit is, for those who don't know Rit is our designer in Alchemist, and he's been working a lot on the mistX V2 version to give you the best design out there. Does anyone has a question? Whether if you can unmute yourself, just do it, and if you can't, put your name out in the Alchemy Discord channel. We'll take the silence for a no.
Yeah, it's coming up to an hour and a half now.
Yeah, it's been a long time. It's been a long time.
I personally just want to say thanks. I think it's great to see all this in front of the community. I think it's great for the community to be able to actively get involved in the project and give you ideas and suggestions. I think that's very important, the way we run Alchemist. And I think, you know, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing the new versions. And yeah, thanks for everything, guys. It's been good.
Yeah, thank you very much. Sorry.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I'd like to say thank you also to the community. I hope that everybody feels that their voice was heard today. We certainly made a concerted effort to go through every single one of the suggestions, discussed every single one, and you obviously applied it to this presentation here. So I certainly I hope that everybody feels like they've been involved in this process, and we hope to continue getting your feedback. And personally, I love the way that this had gone. I loved all the feedback that we received. This is great. I mean, this is why we build products in this way. To get community feedback and to make sure that we're building the things that you guys want to see that fall in line with the Alchemist vision. So thanks again, everyone.
Thanks for everyone winning this, and thanks for Don and Hazelnut taking the lead. It's great, cool.
Thank you, Dick. So yeah, I want to say the same thing. Thank you very much for your involvement and replying to the call. We've had something like 110. It's not the exact number, but like really a huge number of people filling in the form and suggesting ideas. So we're really happy about that, and you can trust that this is keeping us. This is really motivating us as well, and making us happy that we can build products all together and making sure that we're building a great product for the future. So we have a question, I think. Too.
Yeah, hang on. It's $2, is it?
Yeah.
Hey, you guys.
Yeah, hey,
Can you
man.
hear me?
You weren't muted. We can hear you.
Oh,
Hi.
okay, cool. No, I just wanted to, get permission first before just jumping out there. Anyway, my question was, as far as like with the new developments that are coming down the pipeline, how is the team going to weight as far as like, what is more important? Is it more what's going to be first to like first innovation, or just kind of following, trying to get things done as far as like what is, what are the goal? What were the goals? I'd say before this whole Flashbot thing.
So the goals are to I think I've explained this at the beginning, but the goals are to build unique features to drive to increase the number of users first, increase adoption, and also to expand the reach of our decks, because this is something that we believe we should do. In terms of priorities, what you see here on the plan are our priorities. As I said before, the L2 integration might come a bit earlier. It might even come before or at the same time than the gamification. But we need to adapt depending on the resources that we can get on board. And yeah, basically that's how we're gonna do that. The roadmap here, there's a disclaimer on the bottom of the roadmap, right? And this is not there is a good reason for that. As much as we plan to do this, we don't know if this is exactly happening this way. This is our plan. We want to reach that goal, but the crypto space evolving very fast, very quickly. We will always remain flexible and quickly change our views and decisions and positions on some of those ideas if we believe that we will have a better way or we will have a better focus on our resources on features that will drive immediate monetization, for example, or immediate increase of user adoption.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, just to expand on that, I guess to As far as how we decide between go to market or opportunities for monetization or anything like that, I would say it's kind of a bit of everything. It's a conversation. We certainly want with this roadmap and with our how we plan and prioritize. The first thing was obviously having this call and getting community feedback as to what are the most important features for you that you guys feel we should be working on. And then with that, this gives us kind of a nice compass to follow as far as ensuring that we're in line with you guys, while also building things that we feel are going to move the needle. I think we all are. We want to build things that will have an impact, and whether it's building something that is a first or something that's going to greatly expand our user base or something that is monetizable for immediate revenue. Every one of those factors is taken into account and is a conversation around development time, what kind of impact we think it's going to have, et cetera. So I would say that we take a lot of all those factors into account.
So even
Okay.
though this plan might change, we will come back to the community regularly. I don't think it will make sense to come back to the community too often, but at least I will say every quarter we'll do this exercise and aligning our views with the community to make sure that if we decided to do in a different direction, the community will have and share the same view, and maybe also get the same type of feedback that we've had, because the more we are, the more creative ideas we can get, and some of those creative ideas can really turn mistX into a really great success.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. That way, to prevent others feeling like, are we playing catch up, or are we just like, we got things in the pipeline, it's going to happen, and we're making things move. And I hear that from you guys, and it's great to hear that. And I'm looking forward to all this cool stuff, especially with the Crucible integration too. So bravo, you guys. You guys are doing awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, and as far as working backwards or anything like that, there will be some features that we add that already exist, in order to regain parity with what's already out in the market, and there will be features that we build that nobody's seen before. I think we're all just in line and pushing this product forward and growing it into it's the best thing that it can be.
We got another question from Sarel B. Stu is muted, so if you can unmute him, that would be great.
Who's that, Don? Where are you seeing that?
Sarel B. I don't know how to say it.
I think he can unmute
French
himself.
accent. No, he's red, so he's muted by the server.
Was he?
It's a Cyrelb.
Yes, I'm here now. Cyrelb. Yes, it's French. So it's yeah.
So you're French too.
Just a question, or maybe a suggestion in terms of visibility. What about contacting Rabbit Hole in order to add a quest or skills linked to mistX? It could help in terms of visibility. Do you think about it?
Did you say contact whom? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Rabbit Hole.
Rabbit Hole.
I see. Why not? We're not excluding anything. What do you think, Bruce?
It's a bit linked to gamification, because adding some skills like passing a transaction on mistX, you can gain some XP on their side, and for Alchemist, it can also bring some visibility. A lot of very good projects are already listed, like Aave. You have many really good project lists on their skill list, so it can be an opportunity to do some promotion of the project for Alchemist.
Sorry, I didn't catch that the site.
Rabbit Hole.
Rabbit Hole, yeah.
Okay. not super
We'll
familiar.
definitely have a look at it. We're not very familiar with it, but we'll definitely have a look at it. And if it makes sense for us to be there, we'll definitely contact them and see if they will be happy to list us.
Yeah, definitely. I'll give that a check and see how best we can explore that and see how best we can utilize it.
Yeah, that's for you can. Yeah, that's for Hazelnut basically to have a look first.
Shall we start wrapping it up, gentlemen? I'm conscious that it's been a long stint for everyone.
Definitely. Let me just check
and-
if there's any other question.
Yeah, there's nothing in alchemy.
Nothing in alchemy and nothing on my end either. So thank you very much, guys. As we said, we are really grateful for this time that you are spending with us today. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your effort. Thanks for participating in these forums and giving all these feedbacks. This is really amazing. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Thanks,
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.